Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Super Friends Dark Mode. We got my friends with me right now, but for the time being, let me play this song real quick, give some people some time to come in, and then we'll start the show. Salute.
Welcome to the Hypnotized Zone. Today you'll hear the story of Russell Resthaven and the day he tried to save his girlfriend. Here's the story.
Man, you won't believe what the hell to me now, man. What? I let this nigga come out my house and he fuck my bitch. But I'm gonna kill him when he get off work tonight, though. Man, fuck that hoe, man. You can't be trying to say that bitch, man. My nigga don't have to hold a Brian Fraser. I spent cheese on it and everything. I about ring you some more shit, man. I'm gonna kill that nigga that I'm gonna marry. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, man. I love her, man. I love her, man. This man, I love her, man. I gotta marry her, man.
Don't
Marry
say
her.
she don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. Don't save God. She don't want to be saved. I'ma introduce you. Project Bad, I keep it real. I'ma introduce you. Use a sucker making deals. It's gonna take these freaking hoes from your life. I don't understand how you turn a freak into a wife. I don't really get why you be eating out of calls. You fuck the bitch alone. Now you're screaming on the calls. It's about 4 a.m. She ain't nowhere to be found. Somewhere with a friend. They get face it on the ground. But you mistreated mad and you know when she a go. It did you and bad and now she on the flow. Did a line maybe two that she down to do the do. Took her to the studio so she down to do the crew. I know just what to do. You can ask that folks to be. What the bitch pack the shit. Hurry up and run the speeds. Two things I ain't never in my life to see before. It's a UFO. Oh, I hold it with the go. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Jackie simple, Jackie cooker, Jackie like a sucker dick. All she wanna do, smoke a blunt, get a drink of liquor, live up to the ball, booty, even with the straight. Try to see what's what, but you think the fucking love. Be the bitch she really is a sucker dick. You gon' kiss her, hate you hoes, try to kiss her head. They gon' wanna hit her, in the bed. They a damn fool, wanna play her, call her up to bed. They a dick thing, just a player. She the star of the hood up, pussy wet, real good. Can't put up, I don't take. Did I sell her? Man, I should have fucked up in her house. And she be taking all cash, keep my take on Florida. She'll pay for my gas, ass for her dick to drop her somewhere. Trying to watch her pregnant by another man. But you wanna be the papa, does you come? But she crave a back seat. This my April, you'll never get the bitch. Cause she with the dresses. Don't save her. She don't wanna be saved. 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 Save her. She don't wanna be saved. Don't save her. She don't wanna be saved. Don't save her. She don't wanna be saved.
Power, got one in the chamber for you. Cow, and I'm tired of you niggas go saving the bitches. Stop saving these whole little niggas. I ain't trying to be a trick. I'm just saying my dog. Let a nigga get me down and I'm drawn. Take her over my dog so we can do it, y'all. Everybody can do it. Let's just have a ball. Ain't nothing going on but the money and the power. Out real cow, they be saving the hoes, they be paying them bros. But a nigga like me cannot go. I be getting the dough, I be fucking these hoes, I be slamming them down like domino. Bitch, you didn't know, didn't see me, bro. In and out these hoes, don't like gold. Ain't sure you going on, but no money, ain't sure you going on.
Yes, sir. Welcome back, everyone. Shout out to everyone who's already in the chat. You heard. Shout out to official Mac Juice. Salute to you. Hey, yo, Big Willie, what it do, man? It's good to see you in the chat, man. You heard? I'm saying keep the chat active for us, man. But without further ado, let me bring on the rest of my super friends. We have my very good friend, my brother, Afi Kingdom. Let's bring him on to the stage. Oh, my dude, Alpha Villains, bring him up. What's going on? Let me add him. Here we go. Yo, pardon me, guys. Anybody in the chat, pardon us. This the stream yards have been acting up. That's why we were a little late. We'll give some time. Hey, yo, Afi, uh, Alpha Villains, y'all pop up if y'all can, man. You're not popping up on my screen. Here we go, OG Rick.
All right, all right.
Yeah. Salute to you.
LDA,
LDA,
salute.
mic check, man.
Salute. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Salute.
Good.
Hey, yo, Afi, mic check, real quick. AV, mic check.
Yeah. But you gotta,
I see Fee. Fee's in the building. Alpha Villains, where you at? So there we go. Boom. Now we all here, man. Let's get it together. Salute to, I guess again, salute to LDA, Alpha Villains, Afi, and OG Rick in the building. OG Rick is our special guest today. Today we'll be discussing, a little bit about marriage. We'll talk about divorce, and we'll also talk about fatherhood. The reason why I thought it was important to have this particular subject is because, first of all, everybody on this panel is 40 and up. That's number one. But lucky enough, we also have people on this panel who have experienced marriage before, have experienced divorce, and also have experienced fatherhood. And at the same time, there are people on this panel who's never experienced marriage, never experienced divorce, and never experienced fatherhood. So it'll be a good exchange of experiences, ideologies, and so on and so forth between all five of us. But real quick, OG Rick, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, how you doing? OG Rick, and been friends with each one of these guys for a number of years, and enjoy and appreciate being asked onto the show, and look forward to the rest of the night.
No doubt. Beautiful. Um, Before I start off, anybody got any anything they want to start off with, anything they got on their mind real quick? This isn't really a formal, what I'm saying, podcast where we gotta do ABC, you know what I'm saying, follow this curriculum. So
Right.
just to start it off, anybody got anything on their mind? Because it's been a week since we spoke with each other.
well, Jonathan Majors allegedly, he's been allegedly accused of strangling a woman, and this seems to be something that's really big right now because we often talk about, this topic, you're talking about marriage and relationships and fatherhood, etc. And a lot of people tend to forget that choosing the wrong woman for whatever reason can really ruin things for you. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, again, everything is alleged, but it'll be interesting to see the turn of events and how society and the entertainment really embraces or deals with Jonathan Majors. Because on one hand, Will Smith smacked another man, and he still won the Academy Award, and he was embraced with a standing ovation. But I noticed that when there's any type of domestic violence or any type of violence towards a woman, the man has a tendency to get criticized or crucified, rather. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go with that.
Interesting. Well, let me get my little 1-2 on that.
Mhm.
Well, me personally, I believe there's always an agenda in this country of America, man. America's a corporation. They have their plan on turning the public into sheep, into followers. But one of the things that I've noticed, at least for the past 20 years, but no, I'm lying. They've been doing it for at least the past 20, 25 years, but I've noticed it in the past 5 years is the fact that how they're always trying to dim down masculinity. They're always trying to make especially a black man. I believe a black man is like, the epitome of masculinity. This is my personal opinion. So they're always trying to dim down the black man's masculinity. Because this particular actor, I heard he played a great role in the movie Creed 3. I heard he was jacked. I heard he was real like aggressive and this, that, and the third. And soon after hearing that, as far as like the role he played in the Creed movie, then I see him come out with that magazine pictures where he got his lips all pursed up. I think he's wearing like, I forgot. I don't even want to keep the image in my head, but I remember it was an image that didn't make him look the most masculine. So that was one way of softening that particular actor's image. The other way, I believe, is accusing him of assault. basically showing that, well, look at this big black guy. He has all these movies, all this money, and he still physically assaults a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about breaking down the image of a masculine man, showing that a guy who is aggressive, who is, cock diesel, is a threat, to the average woman, so on and so forth. So it's just all about the image that they're putting out there, man. Anybody else want to say anything on that?
Yeah. Just basically in this time period during the society right now is that it's tougher for a man just to have any kind of masculinity. They want to look down on you, and they don't really take they don't take into account the things that a normal man has to go through in any everyday society. If you're too nice to someone, they think you're trying to flirt with them. Like you hold the door for someone, I can do it myself. I don't need you to hold the door for me. So you're being attacked on so many levels. That's why I think going now, like anybody who's looking to get into any kind of marriage, you're fighting an uphill battle because of the way women are kind of programmed. And I'm not going to say all women. There's more of a, I want to say there's a higher majority of women that have the mindset that they don't need a man. They could do on their own. They have these feminism views, which makes it a lot tougher for anyone who's looking to get married right now. And in the U.S., I don't know if it's really a good idea to do that anyway.
All right, we're definitely gonna get into that. LDA, after you got any say on that before I get into the first topic? I can pass. Yo, Fee.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, LDA.
I can hear you, LDA.
Okay, so I actually
just got it on mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually seen the movie Creed. It was actually really good. He acted his butt off. It was actually a good movie. But what I really did notice, I am a delay. Shoot. What I did notice was this. As everyone has said, there's a subtle attack on anything that's masculine. But what we have to really look at is this. It's a subtle attack on masculinity, but it's realizing that we have to control our image as men,
right,
and the narrative around our image. One of the things I said it last week, and I say it privately. I say it privately is you have to choose who you bring into your sphere, and that's men, women, whoever it is. And you got to realize you have to protect your brand at all costs. And I think a lot of times, a lot of men don't think about that because we're driven by our lower nature and not thinking of the higher purpose that we have. It's like for this gentleman, he's in this place. You got to think this woman may not fit for where he is in his purpose. And you got to think, how does she act with pressure? How does she act when something goes on? She's going to, the first thing she's going to do is going to run to the police. You got to think who you bring around your brand and who you are. So yes, it's an attack on masculinity, but it's a wake-up call to everyone on this panel and everyone that's listening of the importance of controlling the narrative around our masculinity.
Right. Absolutely.
100%. Hey, Fee, you got anything on that? Yo, Fee, your mic is muted. Hold on. Okay. Go ahead. Yo, your mic is muted. Try to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm.
All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good?
Oh, okay. Dudes just need to study what masculinity it is, because they don't know what the fuck it means. They think it means alpha and yelling at people, bro.
Right.
How much you say that? It's more to alpha than yelling at motherfuckers.
That's what you want. Yeah.
It's more to it than that. And it's more to it than telling your girl fucking rules and she don't care. She don't even like you. You telling her what you like, man, and she don't like you.
All right.
Yeah, basically what you said to me, that's one of the main reasons why I wrote the book True Male Nature 101, because a lot of these young males and a lot of these young boys and grown males don't even know what a man is. They're going off what the media tell them is what a man is, which is what you said, screaming, right. being the loudest person, trying to be a big bully to everybody. And I mean, like, that's not really what an alpha is. Well, let me stop right here. I'm not really into, the alpha, whatever, but what I would say is switch the word alpha and I put the word masculinity. They believe that masculinity is aggressive and, get into somebody's face, almost like a bully type character, but that's not necessarily what masculinity is. In all actuality, masculinity is the ability for a grown male to control his emotions. Because when you really think about it, that is really the biggest difference between a male and a female, is the way we emote our emotions, the way we, have our emotions inside of us. Now, the biggest difference between a grown male and a real man is basically the way that they control their emotions, set it aside, and use logic and reason to get to the best outcome in every single situation. But the problem is, a lot of young males are raised by women, and women cannot raise a boy to be a man, because a woman cannot empathize or pretty much put this feet into a man's shoes. So
Hey,
that's definitely something that everybody on this panel is trying to improve on.
let me say something about that.
Yeah.
I think it's important, like you said. I think of an example of masculinity and dressing in power. Think of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Small guy, very quiet, but ran a whole organization, nationwide organization, but really barely raised his voice. And that showed what we see, what we think was a masculine, but it was very masculine of him to be able to control. The national leader of his organization was Malcolm X, but he was able to sit behind the scenes and run the whole organization with a whisper almost. That's see, we think, like you said, we think masculinity is, yo, I told you to do that. Sit down, I'm gonna smack your wig off. You do this, I'm gonna beat you up. When I see guys do that, the first thing I realize, you weak, bro. You got somewhere, you gotta exhort your masculinity that much, like a peacock. I know in some level I can pick at you and make you get off your square by getting into your emotions. It's like playing basketball. You play basketball and you talking crap on the court and you get into their head. Anytime somebody's doing that, I already know. Gotcha.
Got him.
Right.
Got him. Absolutely, absolutely, man. Hope everybody in the chat is enjoying it. Shout out to my fellow Motu, Nelly Nell. What's good, man? I
What's
already said
going
what up to
on?
official Mac. Yo, we are Evolution. What's up? Peace, peace. Mr. DC Comics, what up, man? Peace, peace to you. All right, so let's spark it off. Um, like I said, these shows that we're gonna be doing every Sunday, the theme is always gonna be male empowerment, or excuse me, male improvement. It's not about empowerment. We're not looking to overpower anybody. It's
Right.
about male improvement, basically turning males into men. So in this particular episode, I want to start the conversation by asking the men on this panel basically to give me their experience. Because we spoke about the rite of passage the last time I was here. The last time we were here last week, we spoke about the rite of passage and how important it is in order to reach manhood. It's a necessity in order to reach manhood. Another part of reaching manhood, understanding manhood, and maintaining manhood is being able to experience and deal with the three S's, I'll say. The three S's are suffering, sacrifice, and solitude. Suffering, sacrifice, and solitude. Every single real man has experienced some form of sacrifice, he has experienced some form of suffering, and has experienced some period in his life where he had a moment of solitude away from everyone. And those experiences helped mold him to be a real man. So we're going to go around the panel, starting off with our special guest today, OG Rick. I want you to give us your experience, the experiences when it came to dealing with sacrifice, came to dealing with suffering, and came to dealing with solitude that brought you and helped you to become the man that you are today.
Yeah. So those three things are really part of the rite of passage. Um, Sacrifice. You work long hours to keep your family in the right situation. Where you live, nice home. Be able to feed your family. Um, you hope to have support. If you don't have support, you have to like build it from within yourself and be your own ally. Because a lot of us will be our own enemy. We'll say negative things to ourselves, like, oh, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? You have to kind of, you can't get away from that. You have to make yourself your own ally. You can't be beating yourself up. And then solitude, a lot of the times, there's a lot of things you're going to have to do on your own as a man. You know, you're not always going to have help. You're not always going to have someone who's there that can give you a helping hand. And that's what, you know, all those three things will help you overcome and be a strong man. In the end, when you come through all of that, you're going to be the stronger man.
Thanks. Hey, yo, Fee, what's your thoughts on that? Sacrifice, suffering, and solitude.
Um, it's something that every man need to experience. Um,
Pause real
and
quick. My bad. My bad. I have to pause you. My bad. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just noticed all the belts, fam. My man got all the belts behind him. Let's go, champion. Let's go. I
yeah,
thought that was the ill ass couch you had behind you. Nah, that's all your belts. My bad. My bad. My
they
bad.
go
Go ahead. I'm sorry
down
to interrupt you.
some
Go ahead.
too.
Yeah.
I know. I see. Okay, we got the champ. The champ is here. Let's go, baby. Go ahead, man.
You know, I just wish that guys would get their mind off of pussy and learn themselves. But as we both know, that's almost an impossible thing to do. And I tell you guys a secret: when you learn yourself, pussy is better. Just saying,
Mhm.
you know. So get to learn yourself, and your experiences with women will be better because a lot of time men deal with women just to try to get validation from the women to figure out who they are as a man.
Mm,
I know that may be a little. So I'm gonna say it again. A lot of dudes just fuck with women to get validation from the women to figure out how they are and who they are as a man. So
mm.
you need to know who you are first. That way you can show her, and the bitch won't have to tell you. That's it.
100%. I hope the people listening, man, and not just watching this for entertainment. Yo, we're not here to entertain you guys. We're here late night on a Sunday. We got our own personal lives. We're really here to speak to the youth or anybody who resonates with this message, so that you can actually so that you can actually be better yourself. Because too many people will listen and watch this episode and be like, "Oh, that was fire stuff, man. That's what's up. That's what's up." Go to sleep, wake up, and do the same thing over again. Groundhog Day. I'm not here for that. Hey, LD, what's your thoughts on that? On the three S's: solitude, sacrifice, and suffering. How did that help you reach your manhood?
So with the solitude first, when I was homeless, it was solitude. That really caused me to really dig deep inside of myself and say, hey, what's going on with me? Why am I constantly in this cycle of up then down, up and down? And finally, I had to make a resolve inside of me and say, you know what? It ain't nobody else. It's me and some issues I really need to deal with within myself. What was the other one? Sacrifice.
Us. Yep.
So I was living in New York. I was living in the Bronx. I was living on Fordham Road.
Mm.
And my sons were back in Cleveland. And then I moved to Jersey. I was in Saddle River, New Jersey. You know what Saddle River, New Jersey is? It's nothing but money.
Mhm.
Lived
Mm,
there. I had to make a sacrifice to leave there, rolling in Rolls Royces, living in a mansion, chef, maid, and all of that. Even though it wasn't mine, it was part of the organization I was part of. I had to make a sacrifice that has to stop because my sons need their dad in their life. I had to
mm,
stick in the basement of my sister's house on a cot
mm,
and build myself back up so that I can be able to be there for my sons. So when I
Mm.
hear people talk about this and this and that, I don't care what you say. You don't know the struggle when you got to get bit by when you get bit by a spider down in the basement.
Mm.
You
mm,
gotta humbly come bring your sons in the basement of your sister's house and say, you know what, you looking at your dad, this ain't I'm gonna get a car. I'm gonna have my own spot. Don't think just the last of it. So for them to see me now and the car that I drive and where I live in and how I carry myself now, they see the progression and the sacrifice that I made.
Mm.
Working crap jobs. I was just telling somebody today, I worked with somebody who was on that stuff
mm,
and he taking money, trying to he going to the store. Let me get some money, and he taking the money and steal the stuff I need to buy. But I
mm,
had to work with this guy because I had to do what I need to do, pay child support, and to be there for my sons.
Mm.
You see us up here, you don't know our story. You don't know what I had to deal when I had to deal with I had to work with a guy who was stealing money. You don't know what I had to do when I
mm,
had to watch the guy sacrifice that I had to make get and catch the bus so I could be the supervisor for some guys that were out in the streets so that we can put these houses.
Mm-hmm.
This right here looks good. But you
Mm-hmm.
got to see what's
Mhm.
going on inside of here. This clothes and everything looks
Exactly.
this whole set looks good, all this stuff. You don't know the times I almost wanted to give up. But I said
Right.
sacrifice for my sons
Mm-hmm.
to be there, to be a father, to be in their
Mm.
ear. Yo, what do you need to do, son? Hey, this is how you need to do it. No, you need to do that. Get them. I had to correct them. This right here, this the real game. This is experience right here.
Right.
Anyway, don't get me started, man. I went to
100%. Real quick,
yeah,
I just want to tap in real quick. Something that you said that a lot of people don't understand is like when you see a successful person, excuse me, we're talking about men here. When you see a successful man, whether you know the way he dresses, the type of car he drives, where he lives, stuff, so on and so forth. A lot of people don't understand the work, sacrifice, moments of solitude that person had to put in order to achieve these things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people sometimes believe that, oh, that guy got lucky, or you know what, like, you know, it's or you know what, I'm not lucky enough to be able to get have what LDA has, or to have a studio like AV. You know, like if I was lucky like him, nah. These people put in work to become the person that they are today. Like I said last episode, just my appearance alone, you know, I looked different 5 years ago, and that's why I say, like, when I meet people who haven't seen me in 4 or 5 years, I'll be like, yo, you don't know me. I'm not the same person because of the sacrifice that I put in, the solitude that I've gone through, and the suffering that I've had. You know, I'm a changed person, like a caterpillar to a butterfly. But
Mm-hmm.
AV, what's your thoughts on the 3 S's: sacrificing, solitude, and suffering?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It was sort of like a chain reaction for me, and it was a learning experience. So I realized that when I started to sacrifice for other people, it caused a chain reaction that forced solitude and suffering upon me. Right. So I realized that, um, you know, a lot of times people won't see your vision. Right. They won't see your vision. And even though you may be sacrificing, doing certain things for other people, a lot of times the end result may result in you having to embrace solitude. Maybe you break up with somebody breaks up with you because their needs become bigger than your dreams, or you suffer as a result of that loss, right? You suffer because you think that you are sacrificing for the greater good, only for your sacrifice and the big picture to not be appreciated. That does a number on a man. So for me, as a result of all those things and the turn of events, I realized that when you sacrifice, you have to ensure that you're sacrificing for yourself. And you can't necessarily expect people to appreciate the sacrifice. I've been in situations where I've had to explain to women the differences between sacrificing and suffering, right? Because sacrifice is a choice. They're both choices, but sacrifice is a deliberate choice to prevent suffering, right? And a lot of times women feel that sacrificing things, not going on trips or doing shit to save money,
Mm.
is your inability to provide for them. And a man has to really understand who he is and be prepared to challenge that, because a lot of times you'll get pressure from a woman because she feels that you're sacrificing is affecting her livelihood, and you got to make a decision. So, you know, if you have a family situation, you're in love, etc. So for me, I realized that, like Afi said, all three of those S's men have to go through. But I think when you understand yourself and you gain from knowledge and wisdom, you have to make a conscious decision to go through those things for yourself, because you know in turn it's going to make you a better person. When
Right.
you do things for other people outside of yourself, and we're not talking about kids and marriage, even in those dynamics, you still have to put yourself first, because I always use this analogy: if the plane is descending, are you putting the oxygen mask on the child, or are you putting the mask on
Mm.
yourself? So a
Mhm.
lot of times we tend to forget those things, and like LDA said, he had to make sacrifices for his sons. But in turn, now a lot of guys tend to forget the order of operations. So for me in particular, I learned the importance of solitude because it was forced on me. I learned the importance of suffering because of decisions that I made to better myself, and it made me a better person for it. And now I'm not afraid of it, because there's a lot of guys that run away from those things, and then when it comes to them, they don't handle it in a masculine way, and that in turn causes disrespect and a lack of accountability on you too. So for me, those are very important lessons, but I didn't necessarily choose them. I just was able to kind of learn from them. And now moving forward, I understand the importance of those S's.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great points. I'm gonna give my little 1-2 cents on the 3 S's real quick. On my journey to becoming a physician, that's when I pretty much experienced the 3 S's. I mean, I've experienced those 3 S's outside of that, but I can incorporate all 3 S's in my journey towards becoming a physician. So let's start off with sacrifice. When it comes to sacrifice, in order for me to even get to med school, I had to sacrifice time, I had to sacrifice fun, getting lit, and all that, because you have to study for exams. Uh, uh, um, I wanted to be top of my class and all that. So I had to sacrifice some friends because some friends didn't understand the fact that I had to take time away from, smoking and drinking and partying and all that. Like, I had to get my stuff together. So sacrifice time, sacrifice friends, also got to sacrifice money. Because there's times where I had to buy an extra textbook or an extra guide or program, whatever the case may be, that could probably give me an edge, on top of my other competitors when it comes to the MCATs, so on and so forth. So that's one way of sacrifice. The other is suffering. In my journey to get into med school, I said this story before, is how basically I rented an apartment, and 2 weeks prior to getting the apartment, the person who was the landlord, left town. So because of that, and took our bread. So because of that, we had no place to stay. So like AV said, it's a choice. So I had an option to either go back to New York and miss an entire semester of school, or thug it out. When I say thug it, I mean keep some clothes in this person's dorm room, keep a couple more clothes in this person's dorm room. And when it's time for me to go to sleep, there's a bench in front of the dorm buildings, and I'll just, take a quick nap for a 3-4 hour nap at night, you know what I'm saying, real quick. And when I wake up in the morning, as soon as the library opens up, I'll just, go to the library and start studying. So believe me, going from sleeping in dorm rooms, basically going from sleeping in the home to being homeless, sleeping under the stars, and we're not talking about camping, is a whole different experience. You know what I mean? It's a whole different type of quote unquote suffering. Now I wasn't suffering in a sense where I was freezing cold outside and I couldn't do this and I had nowhere to eat. I still had a meal plan, but the point being, I'm sleeping on a cement bench outside of a dorm building, and I did all that in order for the goal of graduating college and getting into med school. Now the last is solitude. At the end of my journey of med school, if those who've been following my journey on YouTube, I ended up getting dismissed from med school. So once I was dismissed from med school, my whole thing was like, all right, while I was on my way to become a physician, I had all these people behind me, like the Verizon man, you heard? Friends, family, all that. But once RPC wasn't going to become a doctor anymore, there was crickets. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that made me realize that it's okay to be in solitude. Because I realized this whole time when I was on this journey, I always had somebody around me. This was the first time where everything got quiet. You know what I mean? There was no Verizon people behind me. I was straight dolo. And at that moment, I started having conversations with myself. You know what I mean? I started to get to know myself on a deeper level. One of the questions I asked myself in solitude was, "Who are you?" Because before, when I asked myself that before, oh yeah, I'm RPC the doctor, or I'm RPC the surgeon. But once that dream is gone and the Verizon people ain't behind me, and you ask that question, you don't want to hear crickets. You know what I mean? But so I say all that to say, me going through those 3 S's basically helped plant the seed that helped me grow into the man that I am today. Word up. Yo, real quick, let me say what's up to AP for life. Shout out to you, AP. Peace, man.
Peace.
Appreciate you for coming. Whenever you could come on to the show, man, let me know, man. We'd love for you to come on, man. Shout out to Binky Bianca. Salute to you. We got a lady in the chat, so it's always good to have a woman's perspective. All right, so now let's get to the main course of this conversation. Because we got all grown men here, all real men here. So there aren't too many times where I watch YouTube and I hear like a real genuine depiction of what marriage is like in real life, what divorce is like in real life, and what fatherhood is. You understand? So before I get to Lawrence and OG Rick, I actually want to talk to Afi and AV because we're me, Avi, and AV, we're all in our 40s. We don't have no wives, never been married. We have no kids. So the question I have for the fellas, Afi and AV, is what's your thoughts on marriage? Why you're not married now? And do you plan on getting married? Let's start with Afi.
You're muted, buddy.
What I think about marriage?
Yeah, what you think about marriage? Why you not married? And do you plan on getting married?
Uh,
No pressure.
shit,
You want me to go
bro.
to AV or something, man?
Uh, I think marriage is a sham, and it's an old fucking discontinued concept that needs to be discontinued, like the flat screen TV. This shit worked before. It sounds like a good idea. If you find somebody with the same morals and conduct as you, then you're fucking lucky and maybe you should get married. But people don't live by the same standards as your mama and papa and grandma and granddaddy. I know it's all good and it's a fantasy, but shit is different now. These hoes is over here twerking and sucking dick on Instagram and shit like that, bro. Wives included, bro. You see these girl trips fucking documents and shit. These women out here be doing all types of shit, bro. This shit is not the fucking 1980s and 70s, bro. When the fuck y'all gonna understand that? You
Mhm.
you can get, if you married, cool. If you're in it, fucking navigate that shit and pivot. But if you're single, fuck that shit, bro. And if it
Mhm.
means that much to you, just go jump the fucking room and shit, or sit your ass at the fucking beach and hold your girl's hand and have a Mendeezy's relationship where they found out that they wasn't really legally married. Well, guess what? It could be between you and your girl, bro. Because the marriage shit and the wedding is just for show anyway. She just wants
Right.
people to be like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." You ain't gotta take the moment from her, but you also ain't gotta sign the paperwork either, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah, let me
100%.
yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary today. If you have a really high position on religion, if you really, you want to do it, again, I just don't think it's necessary. I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't necessarily see the value in it today or even yesterday. I mean, I don't see the value now. If, like Afi said, if you are married, um, you definitely have to pivot, because just because the state is involved doesn't mean that you're not going to go through the same shit that married people go through. A divorce can be just as hard as a long-term relationship breakup. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have common law marriage. You can be with somebody for 5 years and break up with the person and suffer at that point. So as far as marriage is concerned, I think that we always encourage men to become better versions of themselves. And I think the definition of alpha isn't necessarily avoiding a single mother or avoiding marriage. I think an alpha should make a decision that he's going to stand by, and he's going to make a calculated decision that's going to work for him.
Mhm.
Like Afi said, if you can find a woman who shares your values, if you can find a woman that's going to respect you, if you can find a woman that's going to value what you would like your legacy to be raised in, then I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. But I don't think you need to get the state involved to do that, to achieve that. Now, as far as parenting is concerned, I think it's very important. Take your time. Take your time. You know what I mean? If you've ever been with a single mother, you've bonded with somebody, a child that's not yours. There's a bond there. If you have siblings, godsons, nephews, nieces, etc., those are things that will change you. And if you have pets, it's something that changes you because somebody else is relying on you. So a pet is one thing, but a child is something else. Now, when they talk about raising kids and marriage and shit like that, life is something that you kind of figure out as you go along. There's no playbook for parenting. There's no playbook for marriage or relationships. It's something that we have to constantly work at. Now, if you don't find a partner that's going to be willing to constantly work on it, then you may have some issues there. As far as parenting is concerned, also, there's a lot of kids today. There's a lot of risk factors that come along. And again, this isn't fear mongering, but autism. The child may decide to do something, to be transgender. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you may have an idea of how you'd like your son to be, and the child may be exposed or influenced by other factors that may taint the vision that you had for your family. So it's a very important thing to consider. You know, I'm not opposed to, because I really try to be neutral on my channel, because I don't want to demonize niggas for doing shit, because one day you may not want to get married and the next day you may. So I would never judge anybody for wanting to do it.
Right.
But at the same time, I just always encourage men to ask themselves, what is the purpose of what you're doing? And can you achieve the things that you want to do without having to do that? Maybe you're trying to appease her family. Maybe you're trying to fit into the narrative of society. You got to answer those questions first before you decide to jump the broom. That's my opinion.
Real talk. All right. Let me give you my opinion on what marriage is and will I get married. Well, first of all, shout out to Iceberg S. Salute to you. We always appreciate you in the chat. We always love your questions. If anybody in chat got any questions, just post it in the chat and I'll check it out, and we'll get to it later on. Shout out to Carmen. Peace to you, my love. Appreciate you being in the chat. And we also got my man, Mr. Banks, Moto, the international mango lover, man. Shout out to you, man. Round this bitch up in here, man. All right, so real quick, my thoughts on marriage. Now, marriage to me, like I agree with everything that everyone has said so far. Marriage is, as of today, 2023, it's old. It's almost like out of date. Out of date. It doesn't apply to the current society that we have today, because back in the day, to be honest, for lack of a better term, that's like marriage was almost like a retirement plan for women. You know what I mean? Because supposedly, they couldn't work, they couldn't be in the workforce and all that stuff. So them marrying a good man was a good retirement plan, because that dude took care of everything. You know what I mean? So, but now you have women are the most enrolled in college, the most graduated in college are most graduates of college are women. So it's almost like women don't need that retirement plan as much as they did back in the day. That's number one. Number two, when I think about marriage, when I speak about marriage, I'm speaking from the reference point or from the example that I saw from my parents. My parents are still married. They recently celebrated their 50th anniversary last month. So me observing
awesome.
especially God my bless.
Father, me especially observing my father as a husband to my mother, who's his wife, is a whole different experience that I couldn't get from reading a book or from watching a movie. Now, what is marriage to me? Marriage to me is the man conquering the world and the woman conquering the home. So the man goes out into the world, the quote unquote goes into the jungle, fights the lions, tigers, and bears, brings back the meat so that the woman could cook it, to feed the family, so on and so forth. And the woman is the one who takes care of the home. She makes sure the house is clean, the clothes is clean, the kids are also clean. The mother is the first teacher to their child, so making sure that she's instilling the families, aka the father's ideology, into her children, as opposed to sending her children off to like daycare or something like that. So the guy goes into the world, the woman assists him also. When he comes back from this, she's here to heal up his wounds, his quote unquote wounds, whether that be physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever the case may be. She's the healer of him, right? But nowadays, because of this program that I said that society has, it has women thinking that being feminine is soft. Being feminine is something that a man doesn't want, when it's completely the opposite. So again, marriage to me is, first of all, I don't think anybody said it, but I think the guys who were married before will probably agree with me. Marriage nowadays is a business. I mean, it probably was back in the day too, but more so now, marriage is a business, because in my opinion, if I don't see why a guy would actually incorporate the government and signing paperwork.
Right.
For what reason? You know what I mean? Because like somebody said, you could just jump the broom and just do it like that.
Right.
So that's what marriage is to me. It's basically a business where you have a president, you have and a vice president, not two presidents. This is not a 50-50 affair. You understand? So marriage is, like I said, a guy going into the world, conquering the world, woman being his assistant or his helpmeet, the same way that that spiritual book stated. I'm not the religious guy, but a spiritual book stated that the woman was made to be the man's helpmate, and the man is the physical manifestation of God. So it's only right that the woman is here to help the physical manifestation of God. Now, will I get married in the future? Pardon me, I had to laugh at that. Now, Pete, marriage. When I say marriage, I'm talking about signing the paperwork. Do I see myself ever signing paperwork, especially in America, to one woman? Absolutely not. Now, do I ever see myself having a maid, having a wifey, meaning she plays the position of wife, but we sign no official documents? Absolutely, I could definitely see that. Now, the reason why I say I could definitely see myself in that position is because I tell guys it takes, and you only need yourself, and you need to work within yourself to get to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
When you with that woman, that woman that's for you, that compliments you, then she could take it to 105%, 110%. Now, people might be like, well, why does she take it to 150 and 200%? Listen, dummies, it's hard enough to get to 100%.
Right.
Do you understand that every percent after that is monumental?
Right.
So if you can take yourself years, decades to get yourself to 100%, anything past that is an achievement. So you can meet a woman that can take it to 102%, 105%, because plus anything after 100% is past anything that you thought you can do.
Sure.
That means you're surpassing yourself. That's what a good woman can do to you. And that's what I got from the last long-term relationship that I had. So that's my thoughts on marriage and whether or not I'll get married. And the last thing I'll say is I really believe that the person that I'll get married to is probably a woman from Haiti, from the
Really?
island of Haiti.
Interesting.
Not a Haitian woman who lives in Florida or who's in Connecticut. No, someone who's from Haiti. And real quick, the reason why that is because
Interesting.
it's almost like she already comes standard, understanding my culture, understanding why I do what I do, how I move the way I move, why I say the things that I say.
Right.
When she comes and she meets my parents, she already knows she's supposed to salute them, give them a kiss, give them a hug. It's not weird. I say that because I had an American girlfriend before, and that stuff was weird for her. I had to explain to her why she has to do this, that, and the third, and how it's, a custom and a tradition to do this. Like it's nothing.
Right.
But for a Haitian chick, that would be nothing. And she'd know the food that I like to eat. I wouldn't have to tell her how to cook it. She'd know the dances that I like to dance, the music that we dance in the culture. So if I were to have a main, and have someone play that position who could take me to 105%, 110%, my opinion, I think it's a girl who's born and raised in the island of Haiti.
Let me say something real quick. That was very important what you said. I think a lot of times too, aside from the government getting into your business and shit like that and really no benefits, when we're talking about relationships, I think it's very important what you said, man. I mean, you just said that finding somebody that you would actually consider calling wifey is somebody who understands you and understands your culture. That's very important. Not to say that you can't date outside of your culture and that somebody can do their due diligence on your culture, but RPC, being a man that knows himself, knows exactly what will complement his life and alleviate having to teach her some shit, right? So, for instance, I'm Haitian as well. I like Latin women also, but sometimes you have to explain shit to Latin women in terms of if I'm really proud of my culture, which I am. So if I don't necessarily have the goddamn time to teach her that she should be giving a kiss to my mother, what have you, it's something that I don't have to rely on. So it's very important for any woman that you decide to choose to consider taking to the next level has an interest in your culture, has an interest in the way that you move and do things. And if she's not from the culture, she has an interest. That's something that you can really expound on, because it's kind of like white girls that like black dudes and shit. They'll really start to understand. They'll start talking like us, rapping and shit like that. They want to really immerse themselves in the culture. And that's a plus for women. Women have to understand and try to do their research on the men that they're trying to court, so that way they can understand. So that's the way we don't have to explain shit to them too much. Because if a girl does research on that, that's impressive to me. I ain't got to explain shit to you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a content creator, you sending me things that will help me build my business in terms of my content or the things that I like to do, that's a plus. That's an impressive thing to do, right? So this is very important. When you guys are vetting a woman, let's look past the ass and titties and shit. Let's look at how she's going to fit in my culture, the way I'm living my life. That's very important.
Right.
Absolutely. Hey, chat real quick. I see we got some questions in the chat. I'm gonna let OG Rick and LDA go, and once they answer the question, then we'll get to some questions in the chat. So, OG Rick, you're our special guest. You're one of the two people on this panel between you and LDA who have been married in the past before.
Right.
You've also been divorced, and you also the two of you also have children. So, like 2 boys at that. Both of you have 2 boys. So, but the original question I want you guys that I want you to answer, OG, is simply. Actually, yeah, because you've been married, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Why why did you get married? How about that? I'm gonna keep it simple. What is it? What was in your mind at that time? Take me back to when you was in your 20s.
Right.
What was going on around that time, this, that, and third. And basically the question to you is simply put, why did you get married?
I wanted to really have a family. I was at a point where I had gone through my 20s dating, and I got to a point where
I was starting to think long term and wanted to have my own family and have them in the mold of me. You know, every man, when they do have a family, they want to have their sons look like them, dress like them, have the same likes. You know, you want to take them, you want to teach them, and all of that was attractive to me in my head, considering that I didn't have that coming up. You know, I was in a single family home, and I always felt like if I was, you know, I never really thought of marriage when I was dating and you know doing my thing, but it did come to mind. And when I looked at that, I said, you know, I want to make sure that I do things differently, because we see how other families go through marriage, and you kind of see their flaws, you see the pluses, and you try to improve upon that. So when I did it, basically it was because I wanted to have little mini me's, and I wanted to teach, and I also felt that that was, you know, I was kind of in the Latin culture, family's the biggest thing, and being married and seeing your relatives being married and knowing your cousins and family and stuff. It's kind of a fun time, a unity time. So I said, me being a little more educated, a little more streetwise, I felt that that would probably work out to my best, you know, on to my advantage. Um, but as far as, you know, if you wanted to ask me whether I would do it again, that's a definite no. There's no advantage for it, especially now, you know, because of the way mindsets are, and the way that it's almost like you can feel the man hate in the world, you know, not only by hating masculinity, but they also hate a straight man. It's almost like, you know, you got nowhere to turn. And when I went into marriage, I kind of had the traditional mindset. You know, I wanted to grow old. I wanted to see my kids grow and be successful. And it didn't turn out that way. I found out, you know, during the course of the marriage that uh, it's not always it's not always cut out like the way it's presented to you. Everything brings you uh, a different turn, you know, and it's also learning how to navigate that. But yeah, I leave it to
All right.
LDA to say his
Real quick,
piece.
because somebody in the chat said, Carmen said, marriage isn't what it used to be. It is more contractual and for benefits, to be honest. So, you know, we got people in the chat kind of agreeing, like, you know,
Right.
it's a business. Shout out to Moto. Moto said RPC will have a Colombian wife. Word up. Hey, yo, LDA, man.
Mm.
I'm keep the question short and sweet. Take me back again, take it back to your mindset. Cause take it back to the mindset of before you got married. Like, why is it that you got married?
So we were dating for a number of years. I actually met her when she was 18 years old. She was going to college, and we were dating. Actually, we how it happened was in the short. I seen her at Popeye's Chicken, one of our friends from church, and he said, "What y'all doing tonight?" I said, "Hey, we going to the movies." I said, "Okay, we going to the movies too." So we went to the movies. She sat
Mm.
next to me. I was like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna marry her," not knowing she was in college and I was out of college, so we changed numbers. By that time, I was sending notes, sending letters during that time. So we sent
Right.
letters, but then we
Right.
dated. She moved, dated, moved, and finally, you know, it came to the point she moved back to Cleveland, and I said, you know what, I got to do this correctly.
Mm.
Of course, I'm from my bread is church,
Mm.
so we dated this time. Let's go to marry, and so we ended up getting married. Waited a year or two before we had our first son, and then 2 years after that, we had our next son. But the issue was two issues that came up, and this is honest issues. There was no kind of proper guidance system on how to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now,
Mhm.
this
Mm-hmm.
is from the church, and this was outside. There was no say, hey, you need to look to be the husband. You need to do this as the wife. It's easy to
Mhm.
read the scriptures, but if no one is saying this is what you need to do. Second of all, I was coming into my own, and I was married, but I had a single mind.
Mm.
So even though I was married to this woman, who was the mother of my children, she'll never be my baby mama. She's never that. I had a single mindset, and I was smelling myself becoming a player. Just be very clear.
Right.
So I can't put I couldn't put it on her because she wanted to do what she wanted to. She wanted to do. She was there for me. But me, I was like, wait a minute, I'm about to be 30. I got 30, 32, and I got these two little boys, and I got women, coming out the woodwork, leaving stuff on because I worked in accounting at the time, leaving stuff on my desk. Hey, I see you, and you got this car, you got this condo. I mean, that condo, we had a townhouse, and it was me.
Right.
And I got out of the marriage. I filed for divorce. It wasn't her. She did not cheat. I was the cheater. I was the one. I didn't have the proper mindset. And what I did, just be very clear, we ended up getting divorced. It was okay, whatever the case may be. The biggest thing I had to pay was child support. I ended up jumping and getting married right after that. I learned by jumping out of one marriage to the next was the importance of choosing the right partner.
100%.
That second one, baby. Down to Atlanta. We got down to Atlanta, and that girl then flipped the script. And we had to call the police out. And here we got, you get an apartment, both of your names on there. Police come out. She didn't threw my clothes out. You know how I feel about my clothes.
Right.
Clothes in the garbage bag, and you got to leave. So I had to stay in the, when they show you you go to rent an apartment, they show you the apartment that's made up how it would look.
Right.
Yeah, the model,
the show house.
I would have to go to the model and sleep at night, and then wash up, and then go to work. So don't all these people talk, and I say, you know what? But I came right now. It's easy to say, well, it's the woman. She did this. Know who I had to look at when I was walking down, figuring out what I need to do. Coming at 285. Anybody in Atlanta should know 285. Walking, no car. I had to look myself in the mirror, and I went to the library. I said, I got to do something about me. I keep choosing the wrong woman. I done messed up what I did have that was good, and it was me. It was me. Most men can't take that and say, yo, man, it's the woman. I'm not saying anyone. I'm just saying in general, it was me. I was jacked up. I just be real, completely transparent and honest. So it's easy to say, well, I can blame my second wife. I can blame my first wife. But I had to reconcile that relationship with my first wife because my son's up there. And I had to humble myself, come out to Cleveland and do what I needed to do. But I had to sit her down and say, you know what? I did a lot of things that wasn't right, things, whatever the case may be. But we're not going to get back together, but we got to work together to raise these boys. So anything I have done, please forgive me.
Right.
I was wrong. I made some choices. Go ahead.
That's commendable, man. You know what's
that's big.
You know what's interesting, LDA? The men, kudos to you, man. I mean, your wisdom, your growth. I mean, that's some real grown man shit right there as far as accountability. But I find that a lot of men who can look at themselves in the mirror and identify or reminisce when they fucked up or they did something wrong don't necessarily have vitriol towards women. You know what I'm saying? Like we've kind of made peace with it. I mean, I fucked up a lot of good relationships too. At the time I would regret, that maybe I got caught out there cheating or maybe I didn't treat them the right way. And then for years later or to see that I didn't necessarily regret. I mean, she wasn't necessarily the one for me, but I made peace with the fact that I did mess up some good things. So I think it's very important for guys listening that, before we do decide to blame women, even though, again, the majority of them aren't shit, we have to take our accountability and look at ourselves in the mirror and how we contribute to why they're not shit. social media is not solely to blame. It's a lot of fuck niggas out here. A lot of niggas not doing shit with baggage and trauma that they keep bringing it on. We're trying to out finesse somebody, etc. So this is extremely important. This is grown man shit right here. In order for you to expect a woman to be accountable, how accountable are you? If you're not accountable, then the woman can't be accountable, and you can't blame her for not being accountable because you don't know how to be accountable. So that's something that's very important.
Right.
Follow the leader. Follow the
It's
leader.
interesting you say that, because you know why? It's interesting. We always talk in this space, in spaces, about the man being the leader. Just how can she follow me when I'm being a player and not being a husband? How is she following? I had to not. I have a lot of older men that were around me, and they were trying to get me on track, but I kept sniffing after the kitty cat. This kid here, and I was in Atlanta. Big man, I was in Atlanta. I was singing. I was living the I got area codes. I had that.
Let's go.
At the end of the day, let me be very clear. It left me with a track record of women, but it also left me empty.
I hear you.
We need to talk about that on another episode. Go ahead.
I had a track record of women. That's why I don't talk about it. Normally, the real players talk about what they really do. I don't brag about it. I don't say, yo, man, I did this in Florida. I have a track record of women. But at the end of the day, it left me empty. And I'm looking now at 51. I'm looking like, what do I have to show for it? I got the wisdom. I got this. And that's why I'm not against anyone. I'm against someone not choosing to be married, but I'm at a different stage right now. I realize what's number one on my list right now at this point, because of what I do and what I am, companionship. I need a chick to show up.
100%.
You with me, babe? Okay. Now 100%. we're gonna try to think about this whole thing about Saturday night, because I done been married already. I done did it. I didn't jump the broom. I didn't jump the backwards sports. I done signed my name, my real name, fake name, and whatever. But I realized I gotta know what I want so I can lead her correctly.
Yeah.
So if she want to follow, that's up to her.
That's 100%, man. You need to have somebody that's in your corner. Quite the opposite of you, LDA. I was the one who was done wrong to, and I was the loyal husband, and I was the one who was always reachable. I was the one who was spending time with my kids, and because of who I was and how reliable, I think the person that I was with, she took advantage of that, and for me, it was more important to raise my sons and to try to make things work. But at one point, it got to where I couldn't do it anymore. And for as many people that would say, because my family and some of my friends thought that I'd be the one who would do wrong, right? And it was the other way around. And it just goes to show that as quickly as people can judge you and say, oh, well, he's dates a lot. I did all my playing before I got married. And then once I got married, I said, this is what I chose and this is what I'm going to do. And it kind of bit me in the ass. Now that I put on myself too, because I'm the one who did pick her. Now, my unfortunate thing was that she didn't show her true colors until the kids were born, and then now you're locked in because you're not going to walk away on your kids. So I endured what I went through, and going back to sacrifice, and I was 10 years older than her. So I was able to look at the situation and say, well, maybe she needs some time to grow up. Maybe I can just be patient, and of course, a lot of gaslighting was going on. She was gaslighting me and lying to me. And it made me be that much more stronger relationship with my sons, because when you're not getting that love and affection from the person you chose, you turn that into your kids and you say, look, you know, we're going to do everything together. And in the future, that helped me when it came time to the divorce. I got custody of the kids, you know, and I'm the one who filed the divorce. So, you know, you got to come to a point in time where when you see that it's not going anywhere, where you're not getting the support, you're not getting love, right? Because that's one of the things that I was saying, like, you ain't giving me love, you're giving it to somebody else. So that's one of those things that kind of makes you, you know, that bell rings in your head and you're like, oh shit, you know. And she was gaslighting me, telling me, no, that's only you, that's in your head, that's this and that. And being a player before I got married, you know, you think about it, and you know, those are the type of things you would say to the girls when you were dating them. You know, like, nah, yo, that's in your head. But you know,
And LDA, it looked like you had something to say. Looked like LDA has
no,
something
go
you want
ahead.
to say.
Yeah, let me say this too. In this space, and especially with a lot of us, we have seen there's no really blueprint, and there has not been a vetting process on choosing a good wife. Many times, a shout out to Glenn Lawrence. I'm going to give him a shout out because he's the one. I said this last week. We choose the play thing, and we don't choose the right thing. And I got it, and it's so important because I end up second time I chose someone I knew from college because she was cute, she was the model, she was the play thing.
She was the play thing.
Versus choosing the woman that was right for me and where I was going. And no one taught me that. Me and my dad was thick as thieves, but no one's taught me that on how to do that. And we have an opportunity as older men to say, listen, you need this. Okay, you like her? Okay, she good. She can do cartwheels on your dick. Okay, great. But at the end of the day, when she finished doing the cartwheels on your dick, how is she going to help you keep your peace of mind?
Yeah.
Is she going to she's going to be there for you? And I watched both sides of this YouTube. I've been here too long. We have not put enough emphasis on choosing the right women. We have more emphasis on a complaint about the wrong women.
Right. I think too, LDA, not to cut you off, but I think too, this doesn't happen overnight. You need to spend a lot of time with the person that you're vying for to be in your life. They can't be, 6 months. It's got to be over. For me, it would have to be like 2 years of knowing someone in and out.
Facts.
And also, she's got to show me that she's on my team. She can't tell me she's on my team. You can't tell a woman right away, oh, I like long walks on the beach. I like, dancing to Latin music, in the sand. And you can't, because she'll just play that part.
Exactly.
You have to, through the progression, through the time of spending with them, and being as true to yourself as possible, and making mental notes as you go. Because let me tell you something, if I was to be with someone long term, or to pick someone for long term, she's got to prove to me that she's on my team. I refuse to put someone in my life that just says the right things and looks pretty.
It just plays the part.
Yeah, I appreciate more natural beauty than anything. I don't really like a woman that's a ton of makeup and all that other stuff. But I think more importantly is that she has to prove to me, or everybody gets touchy with words. So let me not say prove. She has to show me in her actions that she's for me, right? And no amount of talking to me sweet or whatever is gonna make me fall in love with her. I've been through too much. Sure. I think for younger guys, it's important, man, to really spend time with the person, know what the person is about, see who she runs with, right? Because if she runs with a bunch of hoes, you know what? Birds of a feather.
Hoe.
Absolutely.
So I think that's important.
Well,
Hold on,
We
let me
got some
ask
people
you.
in the chat. Go
Let me
ahead.
ask on what Rick said. The vetting process, but this is the other thing. I heard this today at church, and I didn't. I like, man, why am I hearing this? I'm just chilling, doing my thing. We need a community of people to say, "Ah, no, bruh, that's a hoe."
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need a community to say, "Yo, you dating that girl?" And what do I do whenever I talk to Red Pill and I talk to Al, I say, "Yo, what y'all think about her?" Why am I doing that? You guys know me, and I'm looking for you to say, you may see something because I might be all in love and ooh, she cute and she
Right.
all this. I need someone to say, nah, bruh, that right there, ho. She undercut. Oh, you know what? That might be a good fit for you.
Bro, we'll keep you straight. Don't worry. The circle right here.
You need it. I'm saying for yeah, and you're right.
Right.
I'm saying men need a community,
Right.
and I even have my sister and my mother's nah, girl, no, she ain't good
Yeah.
at it. You need that, not just you as the vetting process, because she's going to be a part of whatever you're doing. So you need something to say. Well, ask her this question. Who I used to go to is my grandmother. I call her the Oracle.
Yeah.
You would sit there, bring her over. And she actually be watching her. She watching the Law and Order, whatever, not Law and Order. Be watching Matlock.
Perry Mason.
Yeah,
Matlock. There we go.
Watching Matlock, baby. Yeah. So what you do? She asks her, what you do? Then she asks, what you know how to cook? I'm like, I'm like, Grandma asked me how to cook. Well, what's the last thing you cooked? I'm sitting there like, then I said, let me go to the bathroom and we go upstairs, whatever the case may be. And then my grandmother. Your grandmother was really nice. She asked a lot of questions. Is because my grandmother was not so much concerned about her. She was concerned about her grandson and him being in a woman that's going to take care of him.
Right.
I wish people would get
100%.
that.
Right.
1000%. Real quick. Let me get to the chat real quick. It's been past an hour. We got some questions in the chat. Real quick. So the first question from Binky Bianca. She asked the fellas on the chat. She says, "Have any of you ever met a woman that made you want to get married?" Let's start with Afi. Muted.
He's still looking.
Yeah, you have to laugh at that, huh? Go ahead. It's a valid question, man. It's a valid question. Go ahead.
Kinda. And that's only because I wanted a family and I didn't want to be a baby daddy because I didn't have no father. So it was more about starting and having a strong family foundation that it is. Then I love this girl so much. You know what I'm saying? Like even I've been in love before and all of that, but that still don't make me say, you know what, I love her so much I'm gonna get on my fucking knee and drop 10. I ain't, it ain't that deep for me. But I don't. If I were still on that page, that would be the reason why I would consider it, because I come from a shaky family that's somewhat toxic and not really stable, and I would want to redo that for the next generations to come. So I would do it just strictly on that. I ain't like loving you like that. Like, yeah, I've loved women before, but not to the point where I can't live without them and I die and all that bullshit. I can't live without you. No, not that fucking shit. But love her enough to say, you know what, I love her enough to deal with her fucking bullshit, and I feel like she's a good mother, so I can rock with it. I've never been won over by a woman to the point where I'm like, this is it for me. I don't need nothing else. Like, nah, it ain't never that deep. Like, it'd be cool. Like, I love her and shit, I'd do anything for her, but at the same time, it's more about the outcome of what I want, which is family and shit, than just because I just need her and shit. Because this is my best friend. Like, y'all be saying that fucking shit on Instagram. Y'all be saying y'all best friends with y'all hoes. Y'all not best friends with y'all hoes, bro. I made a video about this shit years ago, talk the 10 Boss King commandments. So if y'all ain't never seen that video, send me a Instagram or international.afi and I'll send it to you, because I made so many videos, you probably ain't gonna be able to find it. What I'm telling you that I said on the video was, this is the difference. You got a best friend and then you got your girlfriend. The only difference is you stick your dick in your girlfriend. That's the only difference. Y'all can have the same talks as you can have with your partners and shit. The only difference is you can bust a nut and have a good talk after a good nut. That's it.
Mm.
You know, for me,
How about you, AV? Go ahead.
not yet. For me, I agree with what Afi said, but for me, whatever I considered, I always use the word wifey, the wifey title. You know what I'm saying? Because wifey duties basically is somebody that would remind me of perhaps my mother, or was very maternal, didn't necessarily like to do the things that I like to do. So for instance, for me, I've always, and again, this isn't something that I'm proud of, but I've always chosen or categorized my women based on the things that they did and the things that they didn't do. So for instance, the things that they did, if it was shit that I was doing, partying, doing drugs, hanging out, those will be my jump offs, you know what I'm saying? But like my quote unquote wifeys would be the opposite of me. And I think that helped me, that made them compliment me, right? Again, before I got into this YouTube shit, these vernacular and all this shit, I didn't connect the dots, but like we always encourage men to get in relationships that where a woman will compliment you. So for me, if I were to select a wifey, she would be somebody who didn't drink as much, who didn't like to go out to clubs, who didn't do all these things, because it would kind of help me refrain from doing those things, because that would compliment me. But when I was younger, a little bit more reckless, I chose some women as well that were just as equally as toxic as I was, and then I would get into trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, like Avi said, meeting somebody to just say, "Oh my gosh, she's the one," not necessarily. And then another thing too that I'm not proud of, I've never really been faithful to one woman, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily proud of that. Standing here today at 49 years old, and I find that it would be easier for me to be monogamous only because I don't value women and pussy the same. I value my purpose and my grind more so. So I am more committed to that as opposed to diluting what I have with the woman for another woman. Feel me? So again, it's a loaded question. I'm older now, but back in the day, this is how I viewed things. I never really saw one like, "Oh my gosh, she's the one." Nah, because there is no one. But I understand, like Rick said too, it takes about 2 years to really get to see if the woman is on the program, if she's evolving with me as well. You know, time reveals. So
Right.
I don't recommend any man to really jump into anything, whether it's business decisions, affiliations, associations with friends. We have to all vet each other, and whoever gets offended by you vetting them is somebody that you have to be careful of, because we should all vet one another as a form of kind of like just, you know what I mean, courtesy, so that we can protect ourselves. Because if why would I get mad at you for protecting yourself? You know what I'm saying? That means that something's up with this nigga. So we got to take our time. So that's how I see it.
RPC, let me add something real quick, RPC, because I want OG to elaborate on something. Because people get confused, bro. Like when you say gaslighting, I know what you mean. But people tend to think gaslighting is another word for lying, and it's two totally fucking separate things.
Yeah.
People think gaslighting is slang for lying. No, it's two different things. Lying is like is on the defense when I coming at you with some shit. Gaslighting is making me question my reality by you lying to me.
Exactly.
You know, unpack that a little bit, because people, you know what I'm saying? People just think it's like slang, like, oh
no.
This bitch gaslighted me last night, told me she didn't go to the club. No, it's different. Like gaslighting is like making you like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
a lie is just like, bitch, did you get my call? And she like, no, I didn't get it. That's you know, gaslighting is different.
You question your own reality when that happens. You start thinking like, whoa, am I losing it? You know, people who gaslight usually are narcissists.
I wrote a chapter on that. It's called I think I wrote that in Hell, Sex, and Sacrifice. It's called it's one of my coldest chapters I ever wrote.
It's one of the dark personalities.
Yeah, it's called Devil in the Red Dress, the female narcissist. I unpacked that shit.
Yeah.
It's true. I had thought I had dated a lot of narcissists, but really I evaluated. I didn't date a lot of narcissists. I just
No.
dated bitch with women with big egos. A
Yes.
narcissist is a whole nother animal.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal.
It's a whole. It ain't. You can't compare it. It's like comparing a cat to a tiger. You feel me? A lion ass bitch is a cat. A narcissist is a tiger. It's a
Yeah.
whole
So
different ball game, bro.
just
And a
like
whole different perception of the woman of what she does. How do I know all of this? Because my mom is a master level narcissist. That's how come I know all of this shit.
wow. It's
Hey,
like
Ricky, let me get to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna get to AP for life. Shout out to AP. He said all the OG players I grew up around were married, including some P's. I still hold the opinion that only I still hold the opinion that only P's and players can navigate marriage. If you marry like a square, you will get treated accordingly. So that segues into Iceberg S's question. He says, would you say your days as a player and being a married woman's side dude influenced your decision to not get married? Let's go. Let's start off with Fee. I know Fee got some stories about this right here. And then we go to AV. Do you think your days as a player and fucking and being the side dude, has that influenced your decision on getting married?
Your days as a player and being a married woman's side dude influence your decision? Yeah, heavily, bro, because it's based on my experience. See, that's the difference between me and you niggas. You niggas be reading these books thinking y'all know shit. Y'all ain't living no fucking life. Y'all just repeating the fucking rational nail and shit over and over again and don't know no pieces of it. Shout out to him. I read the book too, but I got the experience to match what the fuck he's talking about. That's the difference.
Right.
See, his book plus my experience equals master level awareness and game. His book with no experience means fucking words on the paper.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
How about you, AV? Well, first of
Um,
all, I'm over here assuming that you've been a side dude and stuff. I don't like to make assumptions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
if you were a side dude in the past, AV, has that affected you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it again, for me, man, like I said, it's and being of Haitian descent, my father was a Rolling Stone. I just thought that that's what it was. You know what I mean? I love women. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Nothing that I'm proud of, but it definitely, the abilities, when you are a side, there are some benefits to being a side dude. But now, back then, I learned a lot from it. But being my age right now, having respect for myself and integrity, I would never want to be a side dude because I know my worth. I've built my worth so much that I should never be someone's second choice. But at the same time, when you are a side dude, you really get to see how women can treat their main while making you feel like you're her main. And women are very cunning. We if you are a weaker man, you can facilitate these things, right? So it definitely has made me look at women in a different light. But I am a little embarrassed to say that despite knowing these things back in the day, it never stopped me from just chasing the pussy. You know what I'm saying? It never really stopped me from being that side dude.
Right.
And it never stopped me from giving a woman the benefit of the doubt. I guess that could be considered one of my simpish things. But I also know too, knowing what I know now, I try not to hold that against women because I find that I often suffer from paralysis from analysis, where I'm prejudging women, and it's kind of blocking my blessings. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balancing act, man, with women, relationship. It's really a balancing act, especially what we do now on the microphone, knowing what we know, talking. It really, sometimes we really have to have discernment and try to embrace and enjoy the woman or enjoy that experience for what it is, because all this information, man, will really block you from even at least enjoying that moment. So at the end of the day, man, even what we know that we shouldn't smoke cigarettes. We know that we shouldn't have sex, unprotected sex, but we still do it. So if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, man. Again, I always say that if guys make decisions, just make sure that you make the decision and you be unapologetic about it. And then that way you have as much information as you possibly can for the consequences, because nothing is guaranteed.
Let me add this too real quick, and even because, and I've said this on my content before, but I don't want to assume that people understand the obvious. My commitment shit is not just fucking based on can I like be faithful or not shit, bro, or I can't do it because I can't be with a chick. Like, nah, bro. Me personally, I have authority issues, bro. And once you get a girlfriend, you think that you
Mm.
can she can dictate how the fuck you run your days and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
part that I don't like.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can have a good ass goddamn day and teach a scholar and fucking get a raise and shit. And I
Mm.
want to come home and tell my baby about it. She got the flu. Now I gotta just charge to the game my whole mood and cater to her ass and give her orange
Oh
juice
my
soup and
God.
crackers. See, it be that type of shit that I don't like, bro.
Yeah.
It be
Yeah.
the type of shit to where if I want to go somewhere, she gotta match me and say, "Well, I'm going somewhere too with my friends. If you going on a trip, I'm
Mm.
going on a trip." Or shit like that. Or you always doing this, and now I gotta compromise what I like and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Right.
that too.
Mm.
See,
Right.
it's more for me about that. So I want
Right.
to clarify that because I know how you niggas think. And it's like, oh, Alfie's a player for life. You can never. No, it ain't even that, bro. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't even that. I went on monk mode. Shout out to RPC for putting me on. I went months without pussy purposely. So it ain't
Mm-hmm.
even about meet the bitches and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about I
Authority.
don't like the just like shit. Even at work, they barely tell me what to do.
Bro.
my energy be making the principles and shit suggest shit to me. They don't even like want to go on me hard because I got that
Bro.
attitude.
Right.
Like what?
Listen,
Right.
Big
and
difference.
once
Right.
you taste
Right.
that,
Big
you can't
difference.
go back, right?
Right.
Exactly. Well, let me answer that question real quick. Has my experience with women, dealing with being a side dude and stuff like that. Well, let me say, I want to say I never smashed a married chick. I mean, unless you counting a chick who was married to a dude who was locked up for a decade. You know what I mean? He wasn't coming out no time soon. But besides that, I really wasn't into married chicks. But being a side dude, yeah, definitely smashed
You ain't miss
smashed
nothing
chicks
but
who
get
had
disgusted, bro. That's the only thing you miss.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But my man's my side my man's my right hand man. He's smashed all types of chicks from married chicks and all that. So I got some of his stories about smashing married chicks from him. But
Mm.
aside from me being a side dude and smashing chicks, what also prevented me or gave me caution to getting married is the fact that whatever it is about my personality, my demeanor, women are very comfortable being open with me. You know what I'm saying? Telling me the deepest, darkest secrets and stuff like that. So
Mm.
just from women exposing themselves, for lack of a better term, the saying, let a woman talk long enough, she'll expose herself. I've had a plethora of women do that
Mm-hmm.
to me, different ages, different races,
Right.
different cultural backgrounds, and it made me realize like, women aren't soft flowers and angels. Like my mother tried to teach me that, my aunt tried to teach me that, my big sister tried to teach me that, but from my own experiences, and it's not even for me even dealing with chicks like on a romantic level. Like I'll give you a quick story how like this chick in college, she told me she had an argument with her roommate, and she was like, yeah, I took a toothbrush and I rubbed it all up in the toilet bowl and all up in this and that, and I just put it
Oof.
right back in place. I was like, damn, yo. I was like, yo,
Oof.
what should he do to you? She's like,
Oof.
she didn't make her bed up for the third time. I tell her every day, make your bed, and she didn't. I was like, that constitute you taking a toothbrush and yeah, because she don't listen. And it's moments like that made me realize like, wow, like women could get real conniving. And that's
Mm.
also like friendship type stuff. And like
Right.
I said, I also heard like I said, chicks telling me like what they're doing behind their man's back. Or I said this before in a private conversation, but yeah, I smashed the chick out, and afterwards she's talking about, yeah, my baby daddy this, my ex this, that, and the third. But mind you, the dude is actually a good dude.
Mm.
Like he takes care of his kids, pays child support, does all that shit. But she just straight shits on the dude. And I had to put her in her place, like, yo, stop talking about dude like that. Or why you in front of me, don't talk about him like that. But I say that
Jesus.
to say that experience made me realize, like, damn, like, even the dudes who's doing what they're quote unquote supposed to do,
Right.
saying, take care
Right.
of their child, providing, so on and so forth. But because he's not quote unquote exciting, he's not,
It
fun.
it's another
Women get so
reason
excited.
for not getting married.
Exactly. Let me end off by saying this. Another reason, or the last thing that I say why it'll be hard for me to get married. Well, first of all, like, I'm 41. Don't expect me to marry someone around my age. That's number one. So with
Mhm.
that being said, these younger women, they haven't been raised to be wives. You understand? So
Mm-mm.
these women, they don't know what to do or how to do it. So that's why I tell guys, you got to better yourself. I think the biggest thing that's killing marriage or even the thought of marriage is not even just from the women's side, just in general, is social media. Social media
Oh
is
yeah.
it's a drug. You know what I mean? You got
Yeah.
it's a drug where a woman could get attention at any given time.
Mhm.
It makes people in general think that the grass is greener on the other side. So because of that, because of this drug, and women are getting an overdose of dopamine hits, it's to the point now where a lot of times when I ask women, why is it that your last relationship ended, they'll give me a whole bunch of word salad. And once they're finished with their word salad, I will sum it up and say, so basically what you're saying is your ex is boring. And they'll be like, well, yeah. And I'll be like, well, is your man here to entertain you? Like, is that his job? And they'd be like, well, yeah, well, why not? And I'm like, yo, that's a very tiring task. You expect your man to go out to the world, fight lions, tigers, and bears, and then come home and put a show on for you? Like, are you dumb? I mean, so with that being said, women have too many options. They're strung out on the dopamine effects of social media, and they are always looking for that next hit of dopamine and attention from the next dude. You know what I mean? So because of that, they so easily will get bored and disinterested in marriages. And aside from that, when they get into their first disagreement or first, bump in the road when it comes to a relationship or marriage, they become runners because that's what they've seen from their, that's what they're hearing in their songs and their movies and so on and so forth. So to me, in my opinion, especially for the newer generation, marriage is a wrap. So moving on to the next question.
Hold on,
Iceberg
RBC,
has
let me
another
let me
question.
say this too
Go
about
ahead.
because I'm one who promoted open relationships. Again, I know what y'all niggas think. Y'all think open relationships is about orgies and sex, bro. It's not a fucking about that shit, bro. When you're in an open relationship, the dynamics is like it's better than friends with benefits and it's less than a relationship. So here's the thing. So basically, the interaction that you have with your woman, it doesn't have that authority. You know what I'm saying? Because people be doing their own things. Now, here's the trick, though. See, swingers is swingers. Swingers is like, I can't satisfy you and you want to fuck other dudes, so at least let me be a part of it. That's some swinging shit. Or swinging shit is like, I want to have sex with other girls, so you can have sex with other dudes, and that makes it okay. Because we even. That's what it is. But for the most part, bro, when you have open relationships with chicks, they don't even abuse it, bro. It takes away the icing and the fun of sneaking around, bro, when you tell them they can do it. Y'all need to pay me. I'm trying to put y'all niggas on game.
Word.
Just cause you telling her that's just like it's just like it's just like leaving the keys leaving the keys for your kids and telling them, hey, you ain't supposed to drive, but if you sneak and steal my car, at least put gas in it. You see, it takes away from the whole fucking thing.
Right. Right.
So it ain't
And your
about
feet.
just having threesomes and orgies and I can fuck and I ain't gotta hide it. Like it's way bigger than that, man. Y'all think so small. I shouldn't even have to
Hey, your
explain
feet. Why
myself,
you
but
on
I
it?
know I do because I know
Hey,
what
your feet.
people
Why
be
you?
asking me and the shit that they say.
Hey, your feet. Why you on it, man? Get Moto's question. Moto said, "What are your thoughts on healthy polygamy relationships, multiple wives?"
It's kind of hard now because to me, bro, honestly, this polygamy shit, this new version of it is a trend, bro. So people are just following suit so they can be polygamy couples on Instagram and get followers, my nigga. It's a trend and it's yeah, man. Yeah, see, I'm gonna open y'all fake ass shits up. Yeah, y'all be doing that shit for clout, nigga. That should be because now on the real shit, you can do that shit 10 years ago. And that's in between y'all. Now you can have two bitches and become a star and shit, and people will look up to you, and then women can become stars too. So y'all get together and do a fake ass relationship just so y'all can go get clout and live y'all own lives and shit,
Wow.
bro. It don't even be on real
Wow.
principle because people look. I learned this from being in the Facebook groups, bro. People be auditioning for this type of shit, bro. People be having. I'm in poly groups in on Facebook, but I be so busy that I don't even be like checking that shit. But at the time that I did, yeah, people be holding auditions for that shit, bro. They think it's cute, bro. It's the same thing as how women think being bisexual is cute. And you remember back in the day, it used to be disgusting to be a carpet muncher.
Yeah.
And now it ain't. Now
Right.
these girls,
Yeah.
these girls are making sexy and shit. See, it's a whole different fucking thing, man.
Mm.
This grown man shit,
Well,
I'm telling you, our little kids don't understand it. I understand that too.
hey, I ain't hear from Lawrence and OG in a while. Actually, Lawrence, what's your thoughts on that? On polygamy relationships, basically having multiple wives. What's your thoughts on that?
Interesting. I had a lady about a year or two ago approach me. Said, you know, you nice looking,
And hold on, LDA, real quick. Can you
Well,
check
that
your
was
mic? Cause your
Can you
mic is
hear
going
me?
in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
now.
can hear you, but you good now. It was just going in and out, like it was like muffled or something. Go ahead.
Okay, I know what it was. It was this. So it was a lady, older lady, say, "Hey, you're nice looking. You're well kept. I like how you do your thing." She said, "You know what? So why don't you come down here to this particular state? And I know it will be okay. You can have me, and you can have another
Mm,
chick."
mm.
I said, "That's quite interesting." I said, "Why would you say that about me? What gives that vibe that I would do that? Who told you that?" And she said, I can tell what kind of man you are, but you have a lot of women, and that you will be okay with having me here. I get mine when I need to, and you have the other one, and we know everyone has an understanding. And I thought about it, and I asked I got a group of young ladies that I talked to. I said, "What do you think about that?" She said, I can see you doing that because of the type of man you are. Now, my thoughts on it, the same as Alfie, is trending. We interview a couple that they broke up now. Trouble, that's what they are. They broke up not long after our interview. So the
oh
thing of
yeah,
it,
yeah.
they broke up after our
Ain't
interview.
that shit?
After our interview. But this is the thing. Most people don't understand the dynamics of what it is to be in a poly relationship.
Mm,
So they got to understand that there's rules, there's different things that happen. What do you do when you argue? Happen you disagree? Do you understand the law of the land? Not the law of the land, but the law of the land in the house of what it means to be in
Mm-hmm.
a poly relationship. Most people are
mhm.
because they want to be freaks. Just be
Right,
guys. They
right,
want I
right.
can get I can get some, and she can lick some kitty cat, and we all licking everybody fucking and licking, and they don't understand the whole thing. It's really when you think of the poly relationship. I don't know how I know this, but don't worry about that. But when you break down the poly relationship, it's about really financially. Everyone throwing the pot money in the pot, and we building financially together. Many times, the man is married to the one woman, and they have the other woman there, and they work
Mhm,
together. So it's more is not so much about the sex part. It's about building community together. So
mhm,
one person may be raising this kid and they working together, but it has to build on understanding, trust, and honesty for it to work. It ain't about, oh man, bruh, I ain't gonna believe this girl did this and I had so and Susie Q over here. It's not that.
mhm,
It takes it beyond just the sex. And I wish people will really understand the dynamics of what it means to be in a pilot. So my question: would I do it, or do I think about it? That's up for questions. I plead the fifth.
Rick, what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on healthy polygamy relationships, multiple wives?
mm. The wives part makes me nervous, but no, the I don't know. It seems like a lot of work, you know.
Mm,
If for me, I think when you're dating, right, you're pretty much doing something similar to that anyway. You know, like you're dating. If you're dating more than one woman, you're pretty much doing that. But
mm-hmm.
uh, f- for myself, nah, I wouldn't. As far as like living together and being sharing the same
It's a lot
house,
of
and
work, bro.
Mm-hmm.
that seems like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and as an older man now, I'm in my 50s, late 50s. I I I don't have patience, you
Facts,
know.
Mm-hmm.
bro.
And the thing is, I'm so used to being on my own, and I like what I do. I go when I want to go. I do what I got to do. If a chick doesn't like the way it's going, hey, the door turns to the right, the knob, and you could fucking step. I
Let's go.
personally, I think, you can find somebody that you could vibe with, but to have multiple like that in the house, hey, I don't knock anybody if they want to do it. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking for me. For me, I enjoy uh being on my own, and then dating, and again, finding somebody that can prove, or again, not prove, but to show me that they're on my plan, and then they will in turn see more of me. That's
Mm.
that's how it's gonna go.
Well said.
So real quick, I'll give my quick and dirty answer to this question. So the question is, what are my thoughts on polygamy, multiple wives? So my version, do I believe in polygamous relationships? Absolutely. Polygynous relationships, because polygamy, Gamy, that's multiple partners. So that means that's a woman can have multiple husbands, a man can have multiple wives. That's polygamy. I'm all about polygyny, Gyny. So that means strictly multiple women. All right, boom.
Mm-hmm.
So do I believe in polygyny? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but my version of polygyny is almost like a combination of what you guys said. I remember one of you guys said, OG Rick said he likes his solitude. You guys also said that, it's a lot of work, deal with all these different women at the same time. So my solution to that is, my version of polygyny is, I will live in America. This is like my home base, but I will have a wifey in Cuba, a wifey in Colombia, a wifey in Costa Rica, a wifey in Haiti. So we all spaced out. They all got their own land, their own home. They're taken care of. They don't have to worry about no bills. They don't have to worry about no bills. All they have to worry about is cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner for my children,
Jesus
and instilling the
Christ.
ideology that I've instilled into them, into my children. I come by every once in a while. That's a side note. Let me say this real quick. Maybe we can get into that also. We could jump into fatherhood. And LDA and OG Rick could tap in. Again, I don't have no kids, but my personal opinion is, when it comes to fatherhood, the father does not have to be there 24/7. Okay, a lot of people, especially mothers, think, well, the father wasn't there, or you're barely here, and that's the reason why he's. The thing is, the father doesn't have to be there 24/7. The reason I emphasize that is because that was the situation with my family. My father is a retired New York City cab driver, and he'd work like 6, damn near 7 days a week, and even though he worked those many hours and those many days, I still learned about how to be a man and about manhood through observing him. So it's all about the times that he was home and the time that he was off. He spent time with us. He instilled whatever lesson he could teach us through action. He would tell me, yo, you and your brother, you got to go build XYZ. He would give us a box of nails, hammer, some wood. Be like, yo, y'all figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he did that with me every single day, but maybe every other Saturday. I'd have to wake up at 6 a.m, go to Home Depot with him, pick up some supplies. Just little things like that. So I say that to say, when people hear me say, oh, I'm gonna have one in Cuba, one in DR, one this, that, and the third, they're like, well, you're not really gonna see your kids and they're gonna be distant. Nah, because you have to understand, the time that I do spend with them will be quality
valuable
time.
Right, exactly.
It's gonna be valuable time. And that's one of the things that I wrote in my book, True Male Nature 101, is that one of the most important power that a father has is simply his presence. Like, I know myself growing up in a 2-parent home. It's one thing when it's my mom watching us and she got her, my aunt here with her. It's one thing how the boys act. You know what I'm saying? We might act a little rambunctious, but when my pops get home, or my uncle visits by, me and my brother, we straight now. Because the thing is, the most that my mom and my uncle probably do is yap 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 yap. My father, my uncle, especially my uncle, he would 2-piece me in my chest. Boop boop. Yo, what you doing, little man? What you think? Yo, hey, grab me by my joint. Like, yo, what you think you're doing? You okay, uncle? Okay, I'm sorry. It's a whole different level of authority, right? So, yeah, my version of polygyny, I do believe in polygamous relationships. I do believe in multiple wives, but my version is, my multiple wives will be in different countries. They'll be nowhere near each other, so they don't have to worry about one wife getting jealous at the other one. I saw you kissing her, and you gave her this gift, and the way you take care of her kids is different. Nah, not me, but of course you have to be an international Casanova in order to even have that option. So it is what it is. So real quick, I put it on the board a few times. AP said, instead of choosing the woman, I think you should choose the rules and laws that govern your life, and whichever woman is around has to abide by those rules and laws, or she's out.
100%. Yeah.
Another thing he said, all women will try you if there's no leverage for her to submit. All right. Do you have any other questions? Real quick. We have Carmen. She said real quick. She said, being submissive isn't control. It's embracing your femininity and empowering his masculinity. What's your thoughts on that? Great comment, Carmen. Anybody want to tap into that? Because I'll say I agree with that.
Yeah, I
being
agree with it.
Isn't a control.
Right.
I think being submissive is a woman's natural state anyway. It's the fact that the society that we live in, like I wrote in my book, True Female Nature, a woman's natural mindset is a survival mindset. You know what I mean? Because she's physically weaker than a man, so she could be taken advantage of by basically by the world.
Mm-hmm.
So having a survival mentality, it creates a masculine energy in her.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's with the masculine man who provides for her, protects her, disciplines her,
Mm-hmm.
professes her, meaning like teaches her about herself, she
Right.
could then lay and rest in her femininity, let her hair down, and be the actual version that she's the best version that she's supposed to be. So that's what I
Yeah.
see with
You
that.
know, let,
I commend her because you know what? There's not enough of that mentality going around. I think that if more women thought that way, things would be a little easier between the sexes. So I
Mhm.
commend her for at least having the mindset to understand that she can say things like that and be proud of where she stands. That's part of her makeup.
yeah, and let me piggyback on that. I mean, it sounds hot. I mean, I got a lot of girls in my DMs and shit quoting TD Jakes and fucking sending me reels and shit. And they say the right things, you know, and I appreciate that. But saying it and being able to practice it are two different things. I find that
Mhm.
women know what to say, kind of like sort of like men know what to say too. But we're having a hard time. There's a disconnect in terms of being able to coexist with one another, right? Because a woman will say she wants a man who's masculine so she can embrace her femininity, but she's basing her definition on femininity on what she sees on the social media, her mother, etc. So she's not necessarily basing her femininity on the man that she's with. You know what I'm saying? Because like some men make define femininity different. So before we can start saying all that hot stuff, I think we need to kind of understand the man who's trying to court you and the man that you're interested in as well, and vice versa. The man has to also study the person that he's interested in as well, because again, what is feminine to me may not necessarily be feminine to LDA or Afi, etc. So I think we know what to say, but we don't necessarily know what to do. And I think
Mm.
we have to kind of, it's like a new team, right? When you have a new team, you can recruit some people. We have to kind of learn one another. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when there is a moment of adversity or there's a little bump in the road, we tend to forget about that femininity and then she wants to be masculine. And then the nigga wants to kind of compliment because he still wants to smash. Then he wants to do something goofy to be a little bit feminine. So,
Mm.
you know what I mean? We all have to stand on our squares, man. You were born a woman, just act like a fucking woman. You were born a man, act like a man. Let's tweak some things if we really like each other to see if it's worth tweaking. And then we take it from there, bro. Because a lot of people know what to say, but they don't know what to do.
Absolutely. Real quick, shout out to Topcast, man.
Peace,
Appreciate you,
top.
man. He said salute to everybody, man. Salute Top. Salute, salute.
Peace, nigga.
Salute,
We got
salute,
another
top.
question in the chat. Got another question. We'll have to be out here soon. Another 15, 20 minutes. Got another question from Carmen. She gave us a good one last time. Let's see what she got this time. Carmen says, question, do you think people were truly meant to be monogamous? Thinking from the perspective that we are just advanced mammals. Let me tap in real quick because I do have a biology degree. I'm tapped into the human beings, hormonal system and the female reproductive system and the male reproductive system. So the question is, are we meant to be monogamous? It's not a straightforward answer. That answer does not it's not a one hat fits all type of answer. So if you ask the question, do you think that men are meant to be monogamous? And the question, do you think women are meant to be monogamous? You're gonna have two different answers. So once I separated it, the first question I ask is or answer is it are men meant to be monogamous? And biologically speaking, no, we are not meant to be monogamous. Like women have their periods every month, right? You know what I'm saying? Where, not to get too graphic, but every month they have a cycle, and at the end of the cycle, if they don't get pregnant, then they release all that stuff, and that's where they have their periods, this, that, and the third. The thing is with a guy has his quote unquote period or has his cycle every 3 days. Every 72 hours, we produce a whole new batch of sperm. You understand? And women will ask, like, why do guys want sex so much? And this, that, and the third. And like, ladies, imagine if you made a new batch of sperm every 3 days. Like, that stuff got to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But I can also talk about, semen retention and all that, but we're not here to talk about that. But when it comes to monogamy, are men meant to be monogamous? Absolutely not. A man could, a man can actually repopulate the earth. He can have 365 women pregnant in a year or more. A woman, on the other hand, she can only get pregnant once a year. All right. Another thing, and last thing I say about the monogamy, women, to show you that women aren't biologically built to be monogamous. Excuse me, women are biologically built to be monogamous and not polygamous. Is the fact that the woman's body, first of all, the vagina is not a self-cleaning oven. I want everyone to understand that whatever goes in there kind of normally stays there. Meaning, like, let's talk about specifically DNA. So if you know a chick, she got 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 bodies, and all of them shot up the club, then you basically got a sperm war going on within her body. The way the woman's body is naturally built is her first partner is the person who's supposed to be her husband. So the first and only time she's supposed to receive semen or extra, outside DNA is from her husband, because the first time her body receives it, it's gonna think it's like a foreign body. But once the body, her body understands it, and she's able to get pregnant from this her husband, and everything's all good. If for whatever reason, if her husband dies, the only other man that should be capable or should be, impregnate her would be the husband's brother, because the brother has a similar DNA. A woman's body is not built to deal with multiple types of DNA, which is the reason why I believe, in my own personal opinion, why a lot of women have fibroids. You have all this different outgrowing stuff in your uterus, and that's just their body's just trying to put away all the DNA and stuff like that. But that's what I'll say when it comes to polygamy as far as men and women. Anybody else want to tap in? After you want to tap in as far as, like, do you think men and or women are naturally meant to be monogamous?
Well, I got a different answer, and that's just because me coaching changed that. A lot of guys don't have the option to get the women, bro. See, sometimes player cats be feeling like there's more of us, bro. I didn't know there was virgins and shit over the age of 25 and shit like that.
Shit
So,
is real.
so it ain't. Men don't have the options that I thought that they had. So there's a lot of guys out here struggling to where um, they have scarcity mindsets, and they can be monogamous because they can barely get one as it is. So when they get fucking one, they want to hold on to that bitch tight. So that's where that's the difference. You know, all now this is how I remix it. Are men with options monogamous? Majority no.
Shit.
Now I'll say that. But can men naturally be monogamous? Yeah, they can, because a lot of guys don't get pussy in options, bro. And I didn't know that at first.
Now,
That's
you
excellent.
brought up a good point, because it's something that I realized when I speak on these YouTube streets. I got to realize I have to separate myself from the average dude, because I'd be lying to the people if I told you I'm an average dude. Like, just the things that I do, my experience, just the way my life is, it's just not average. But at the same time, when I'm speaking about men in general, I do have to get back to thinking about the average dude. And you're absolutely right, because when I talk to guys like within our circle, like a tribe like ours, yeah, we talk about, why would I be monogamous? Like, that's pointless. Like, yo, I got options here, options there. But the average dude who could barely get box a year, who barely gets one piece of box a year, yeah, that dude, he's happy if he gets one chick.
Don't let it be
He's
a
gonna go
good
for
look,
one chick.
good piece either.
You said what?
Don't let it be a good piece. He really locked in.
That's it. He's not leaving her, which is the reason why I think that a lot of guys do not break up with women, because once they have her, they're like, yo, sure. Either I'm not letting that go because I can't get nothing better, or I'm not letting that go because I don't want to have to start all over with another chick. She has to do this. She has to learn about these quirks and da 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 da. So, but a woman, shit, she'll have like 2, 3 on the side waiting. You know what I'm saying? Orbiting her, before she even leaves you. So that's that. But great question, Carmen. I definitely agree with that. A lot of guys are not built
I like
to
what Alfie
have
said
multiple women.
because you hear me?
Yo,
Yeah,
we
go
got
ahead.
you.
Yeah, I like what Alfie said. I never thought about that, to be honest with you. And it came up today. I was at church and the first lady said, "Hey, you coming to our couples thing?" I said, "Yeah, you can bring your friend." I said, "First of all, how you know I got a friend, and how you
Mm.
I don't have multiple?"
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
So I say
Mm-hmm.
it's something I realize they're thinking at this level of just one female. I'm thinking in the options that I have, that I can fly someone out just to show up that day who will look the part. So it's a difference when you're in this state, when you're at this level versus you're just the one person who just you're happy to just get that one woman who she lights your fire and that's it. Versus someone who has multiple options, it's a completely different world. And I never thought about that until you really said that out being in the situation at church earlier today. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. It's a whole different mindset. To me, it's like nothing. Okay, I just go outside and then I can go into my DMs. I can go to work. I can go anywhere and then boop, there she is. Completely different for a man like us versus some other. And this is not to downplay any man who is not where we're at.
Yeah, because I didn't know it until I started YouTube. So I ain't don't let me not make it seem like this is just my ideology growing up and shit. Like, no, I didn't know this shit till I started coaching.
Yeah. Word.
Yeah, a lot of fucking gold.
Word. Like, yo, you know a question. I remember being on the plane. You know, a question made me realize, like, yo, I'm not like these dudes. I'm different. I remember actually 2 questions. One question was, it's like, how do you get a chick's number? I'm like, we still on the remedial stuff. But the other question that really had me on some shit, like, what the fuck? A guy came up on the panel. He was like, yo, so, how do I get a chick to suck my dick? Like, how do I ask her to suck my dick? And I was like,
wow,
pull that shit out, bro.
I had to. I'm like,
just go, I'm not ever asked in their face. That's how you do it.
They should naturally want to do it themselves. You know what I mean?
Ain't asking no head. I make the sound. I make the sound effect too. Just How you give somebody a pencil? That's how you whip your dick out. Just
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, real talk. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Shout out to my man. God rest the dead. That's what he told me when I was in high school. He was like, yo, listen, man, if you want a chick to just do that, I was like, yeah, what you talking about? Like how gotta do this, you gotta do that. He's like, nah, man, just pull that shit out.
Dude,
he's like, pull that shit out. She won't know what to do with it.
It's crazy, man.
Go ahead, LDA.
Dude, I kid you not. I was dating this younger chick, and whatever. She came over a little taller than me, whatever. Because you want to Netflix and watch the Netflix and everything like that. So we watching it, and she just sitting there. I'm like, you want some water? Water, okay. A little parched. I might drink the water. The next thing you know, I just unzip my pants and say, oh, here you go.
There you go.
He's like, we're ready. I'm like, well, I don't worry about you being ready.
Yo, I remember
ready.
Yo, when I remember one time too, back in the day, bitch went to go use the bathroom and shit, and my ass was on the couch like this, my nigga, just in my birthday suit. Bitch was like, yo, what the fuck? Pull that shit out, bro. What are you guys doing? Just pull it out.
Pull it out. You know what to do with it. Don't worry about it.
I was just like on the couch like this. She was like, oh. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, the thinking man would do it like this.
Yeah. I mean, little ebony pose and shit.
Not everybody could do it like that, man.
Hey, yo, for me, the worst shit is, man.
I see you in the chat. Go ahead. What'd you say, Fee?
The worst shit is when you got a new one and that shit don't want to stay on solid, bro. That shit happened to us all, but it's the worst. Sure. The brand new one, bro. That's the worst. You can't talk your way out of it. You don't know because she don't know.
That's first impressions right there.
She don't know you to care, so you can't be like, it ain't normally like this. Like, she don't want to hear that shit. She got to know it ain't normally like this because you didn't hit the shit before. Right. That's the nightmare right there.
Sure. You had that Ebony Man's pose.
I had the Ebony Jet Magazine pose, LDA. Looking like Jet Magazine.
Oh, shit. Hey, yo. What we gotta do? I know I'm late as fuck, but Kendra G, I didn't know Kendra G was thick as fuck like this, bro.
Yeah, she's a stallion, bro. She's a stallion.
Y'all see this new picture of her in Africa? God, shit, bro, I didn't know this.
Yeah, she's stacked. She's stacked.
She nice dark brown. You heard? Yeah, let me nice dark skin, but we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about dark skin, brown.
I was like, send me the link. I can't see.
I want to do like AB. I want to be my Ebony pose. Get it?
I just sent it. I'm like, I sent it to all y'all. God damn, bro.
I was like this. We're like,
yeah, on the couch.
Right now, I'm putting my notifications on her shit now. I'm putting notifications of posts all on.
That was the best, man. That's the best, right? That's the best, right?
Hey, yo.
Absolutely.
So we about to get up out of here. If the chat has any other questions that they want to ask, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark. Shout out to David Aor, Carmen again, Binky, Bianca, shout out to you. Money Mitch, what up? What up? Peace to you, man.
Peace.
Iceberg S, you already know what it is. He said, whisper in her, I guess whisper in her ear that you
Yeah.
have an 80% success rate. Works every time.
I feel
Shout out to
80%.
Carmen. Carmen said, great panel. You gentlemen are dope. Yo, appreciate you, Carmen.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you for coming through. Make sure you come through next week and also invite your friends. We definitely want more. Let me speak for myself and in this panel. We definitely want more women in the chat. We don't want this to be an echo chamber. You know what I mean?
Right.
We definitely enjoyed and appreciate the questions that you put in the chat. So just keep that going. My man AP, you already know AP.
Peace,
You my man for life, man. AP said real quick, I like Kendra G. I like Kendra G for her mind.
Yeah, right.
She cool, but yeah, that's
So do I.
right.
Because I only, I don't,
Now, but
even
real
though I
quick, before we
follow
get
her,
off,
even though I follow her, I never really look at her shit. I just be looking at her clips of her talking to the people, and it just be her top half.
Yeah, but
I never really like looked into her shit, and then I just when I got my phone, it was the first thing I seen. I'm like, oh, this is who the fuck is this? Oh, this Kendra G. It's the one that'll be. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, this is what I'll say. Because remember, I started the show saying we're going to talk about marriage, divorce, and fatherhood. We talk about marriage, we tapped into fatherhood, but now I'm thinking, I don't even want to talk about divorce. You know why? Because that's what people think about when they think about marriage and relationships. They think
Very
about
good.
the end.
Good point.
So,
Right.
yeah, so, I don't even want to put that into anybody's mainframe, into their program or anything like that.
Very
let's
good
not
point.
let's not relive the trauma of divorce, because I don't think even though I didn't go through it, I would believe that LDA and OG would agree that divorce is not a good thing. It's not beautiful. You know what I mean? Now, if we want to do a whole separate episode on divorce, I guess we could do that. But I think I want to keep it to the positive, things that we spoke about marriage. We talked about femininity. We talked about taking care of a woman, disciplining, professing, teaching her about herself, and fatherhood, how important the father is. So I think we want to keep it right there. What's his name?
Shout out to Kendra G. You're gonna see. Watch this. Y'all gonna see me on the singles live with Kendra G within a month. Because now I'm interested. Now.
Then it's already written then. Because once Afi says it, it happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
So last question.
I've been hearing about her for a whole year. I never even looked at her body before until I just popped out of my fucking ass. Like,
my man feet is blown. Look at my man feet. He holding his head. He's holding his head like, yo, I ain't know.
Yeah,
I ain't know.
I should have been up on there, man. If I would have knew I would have been up there talking to her ass.
Yeah.
Hey, yo. So official Mac Juice asked, what's the topic for next week? Dope Super Friends. So it's we be I'll be freestyling the topics. I usually think about the topics while we're in the current episode. So while we're in this episode, I already good question, official Mac Juice. While we was in this episode, I was thinking about the possible next week's topic, and it's gonna be after all the hoes.
That's a good one.
Fellas, we done. Listen, I don't even know people's body count. I don't know people personally.
But look at Iceberg's last comment though about the hoes before we get off the hoes. I told you I ain't tripping. I know I ain't tripping because Iceberg went to go look at that shit too.
Yeah, she's stacked. I told you she was stacked, man. But yeah, next episode,
man, type 2B. Yeah, what the fuck I've been looking at?
All the hoes, man. We done ran through a few. I think everybody on this, of course, everybody on this panel has, a decent amount of body counts. So, but, we don't talk about that much.
Yeah.
But this is something that I do want to focus on, because I noticed myself that, like I was speaking to my right hand man. I'm like, yo, the monkey's finally off my back. He's like, what you mean? I'm like, yo, that Latina monkey, it's off my back. Like, I'm not thirsting, and anytime I see a Latin woman, oh my God, she's so hot. And now, you know what I mean? I can appreciate the beauty. You understand? But that's because I've gone through all the hoes. Now my perspective is different. I want different things. But anyway, that's
a good show. That's a good show. That's a good show.
Life after the hoes, and how life was before you started fucking with hoes. When you was in the midst and having the rotation, you had a chick here, a chick might have busted your window. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about the good and the bad, the heaven and the hell of having a rotation and dealing with multiple women, man. So that's the topic for next week. But Afi, you say you want me to tap into one more comment?
Oh, Iceberg said, "Hey, you know what? LPC, don't you remember? I could have swore I made a Super Friends playlist because I was trying to send it to somebody had asked me for it, and I couldn't find it. I could have swore I made one with all the episodes. No, you don't remember that?
I think you did.
If anything, we could do it again. We could do it again, man. Hey, yo, real quick.
I counted like 30-something. I'm
gonna answer a question. She said, "What's your body count? What is the respective body count for a woman?" Well, as far as like, what's your body count? My answer is a gentleman never kiss and tells.
Right.
That's right.
Come on.
Nobody on this planet knows my body count.
Bianca, if you tell me yours. Tell me yours first.
Exactly.
Then I'll tell you
Hey, yo,
mine.
there you go,
Yeah,
Bianca.
yeah.
If it,
And,
like,
and,
that's not a trick
and put
question.
your body count in there, Bianca,
Right.
and put your age too, so I know your ass ain't lying. Don't try to play me and say you out there on 4 and you 36. You better be like
Oh,
21. What's the body count?
hey, yo,
And I want the age too. Then I tell you mine.
hey, yo, real quick. I'll stop on this. He said a woman is perfect with whatever her body count is. Yo, who's this gay? David, I'm gonna talk to you next time, man. I've been seeing you in the chat. I'm gonna address your next chat if you actually keep talking the way
What
you
she
talking.
say? I see her. I see
Anyway,
her thing.
so
What she say it was? Because her comment is under that, but it just say 2 boxes on my shit. What did it say? What she say?
That
she
smiley
said, "Have a
face.
great night. Have a great night, David." No, Binky Bianca. She just 2 smiley faces, just laughing. That's all. Hey,
Hmm.
just
I
Binky
knew you
Bianca,
were
just come
about
through
that
next
life.
show.
I knew you weren't about that life. See,
Oh wow.
Just come through next show. We'll address all that next show.
I'm
We'll
41,
address
but
all
no
that next show. She
numbers.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
She said, "Yeah, I'm 41, no numbers." Like, I just wanted to see if you would answer. Now, what I was gonna say about that body count. What I was gonna say. Now, I'll talk about that next episode.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll talk about next episode, fellas. Any last words that you have, OG Rick? Any last words? Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram and it's Rick Torres 550. And I enjoyed the night, guys. It was great. Thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to some more in the future if possible.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, yo, Afi, what you got to say to the people before you out of here?
Make sure you subscribe to me, international.afi on Instagram and Afi Kingdom Books on Instagram. You need a consultation? Hit me at dominusmindset.org. Shoot me a message and follow my YouTube. It's AFI Kingdom, Afi Kingdom. I just dropped a new podcast like 15 minutes ago about traveling, so y'all can check that out since y'all want to be passport bros and get booty. Well, I just dropped a extra level video about traveling, so y'all can check that one out. And what did I say? Subscribe to my channel, the consultation, and I think that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got 3 books dropping next month, so y'all look forward to that.
Fire.
I got. So you want to? I got the how-to series. So you want to be an author coming? How to write, create, and publish a book in 10 days. And then I got. So you want to be a content creator? The 48 law hacks. And then I got the children's book, Oppie Links and Rose Expert Level. No, that's the channel. My bad. Oppie Links and
Mm.
Rose Symbol and Rivalry. So I got those 3 books dropping for y'all next month. And then in May, we're going to have 2 more. It's a double series. It's Expert Level Game first, and then Master Her Bird Desires. If you don't read the book in that order, then you're an asshole because that's how I wrote them. I want you to get the information the way I'm teaching it to you. So look out for those 3 books next month, and then the game books because I know y'all want some booty in May. But another thing, these are advanced strategies. So these are these. This is this is an extension, assuming you've read the other books. So if you ain't
Hmm.
read none of my books, don't go get Master of Her Desires, bro. You ain't that. You just skip the whole fucking shit, bro. It's adding to the shit. This is
Hmm.
adding advanced strategies to
Building
which
on.
you're supposed
Building
to
on.
already have. So if you can't get phone numbers and you get left on red, don't buy expert level game and don't buy master. I mean, just think of the titles. What the titles tell you there: expert
Mm.
level game and master of her universe. Do those sound like 2 starter books? No. So you better read the other ones first, or leave the 2 books alone.
Right.
Word.
RPC, thank
LDA,
you.
what can
Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
AV. No, go ahead, AV.
No, I
You tell
Go
me
apologize.
ahead,
that,
AV.
Oh,
you too
okay.
late now, Bianca. You
You got
tell
it.
me
You got it.
Nah, man.
why didn't
RP,
tell me the number.
RPC, thanks for having me on, man. OG Rick, Afi, LDA, man. Always a
Yeah.
pleasure. Guys, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Alpha Villains. I'm also on Instagram, Alpha Villains. Tomorrow, I got a show. We're going to talk about the Jonathan Majors fiasco, why picking the wrong woman can ruin everything. Make sure y'all check me out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
It's the weekday mornings. That's what it is. LDA, where
Let's
can the
go.
people find you, man?
So you can find me at Lawrence D. Adams. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I have a show just on Fridays at 1 o'clock, more of a teaching on the game. And then I'm starting a new show on Friday evening called LDA After Dark.
Nice.
For grown, this grown folks conversation. So I'm gonna keep it clean, but I'm gonna keep it classy. And if you missed last week, I covered a whole bunch of stuff. You can find my book on Amazon, The Secret Invisible Crown. You can also find my music on Amazon, and you can find it on Spotify. You can find it everywhere. Look, Lawrence D. Adams. You can find me there. And I have a private community where we actually don't talk about it, we actually produce change and transformation. I don't want to be just talking about the game. I don't want to be just giving people information and their lives are not changed. So I have a private group, and yes, it costs to be there every month, be there, but the reports and the results and the receipts that we get is for real. But you can't just get to it because that's why I'm not sharing it to it because you got to qualify to be there.
Mm.
But I'm just talking.
No doubt. No doubt. So you can find me on the Real Man channel. But before I get my last thoughts real quick, for the fellas out there, I mean, she said that last thing, Carmen said you can realistically have 4 at 36, depending on how you were raised and your morals. Sounds good. I mean, but that's the exception. What I learned is, guys, this is on a low ball, the average 30-year-old on a low ball. Let's say she lost her virginity at 18, right? Lost her virginity at 18. We talk about a 30-year-old, so that means between 18 and 30, that's 12 years, right?
Mhm.
So 12 years, she lost her virginity at 18. What could be a possible body count for a chick that's 30 who lost her virginity at 18? Let's think about it. Let's do the math.
Wow.
Let's think logically. Let's think with reason, right?
Mhm.
The average person might think a 30-year-old, she might have like 10 bodies, maybe 12. No, not in this generation, not in 2023. Let's do the math again. Chick loses her virginity at 18. Let's say my original solution was, let's say she gets one body per season. She gets one body in the fall, one in winter, one in spring. But fuck it. Let's go on. Let's lowball it. Let's say she only smashes 3 times a year, because let's say she takes off for winter time because it's too cold outside.
Right.
I mean, she's smashing in the springtime, fall time,
Right.
and the summertime. 3 times 12 is 36, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if I meet a 30-year-old and she tell me that she has 30 bodies, I'm not going to be shocked. Now, if she tells me she has, 60, 70, 80 bodies, like, God damn, what the hell you been doing? But for me to think, like, if I meet a 36-year-old with 4 bodies, first of all, I have to look at her background, see what type of culture she came from. But if she came from like a regular, average-ass background, she only got 4 bodies, I would have to investigate that. Like, yo, what the hell you doing? Like, I mean, because you went to college too, you did this, that, and the third, you went on girls' trips, like, you talk about you only got 4 bodies. But anyway, I don't want to delve in that too much. We could talk about that in the next episode. Shout out to everybody who watched this, everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who made it to the panel. Again, you can find me on the Real Man channel. Check out my book, my 2 books, Hacker, True Female Nature 101 on Amazon, that speaks about female nature. And my most recent book, True Male Nature 101, How Sons of Single Mothers Can Think Like a Real Man. Both have audiobooks now. I just released the audiobook for the True Male Nature 101. So you guys check that out. If you guys are iffy about it, check out the reviews. Straight 5 stars, you heard? So we're going to do that. We're going to be here next week, same time, same back channel. We're going to talk about After All the Hoes. Until next week, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace, peace.
You can't make this up.